Hello, this is the All Ireland podcast. My name is Dylan Murphy, and with me I have Barry Jay Hughes. Thanks very much for joining me today, Barry.
Thanks for having me, Dylan. It's great to
Yeah,
be
so
here.
so we've spoken before on the radio show. This is hopefully better audio quality than I had back then. So just to kind of get us started, we spoke back in early 2019. For anyone that mightn't have heard that interview, kind of give us kind of an introduction to your music. What's it all about? How would you kind of describe
Okay,
it?
yeah. So I describe it as folk rock. So taking inspiration from ballad singers that I would have grew up listening to, and taking inspiration from rock music that my two older brothers would have been listening to in the house. So um, I listen to a lot of different music, but I would, describe my own music as folk rock. Trying to tell a story, just with a little bit of an.
So, we talked back in 2019. Back then, you had just released your single called Diving in early 2019. So, can you give us kind of an update as to what has changed since then?
Yes, that was yes, that's a long time ago. So since that, I went back into studio and I recorded three more singles. So The Sound of Your Voice and Honest was the most recent one, and that was with the view to putting a studio album together. But 2019 just seemed to get away on me. I was busy with gigs and with wedding work and stuff like that. So I settled for a 5-track EP, I suppose, just as a precursor to what will come hopefully in the next year or two. So I released the EP in December of last year, and I included it's called Just Be Honest with Yourself, available on all streaming and download sites. And I'm kind of still promoting it. I'm still pushing all that music. I'm in the process of putting together a music video for the second single, which was Replace. So that's pretty exciting. There's going to be a lot of people involved in it. A little bit of a lockdown project, and I reached out to a lot of followers and to send me a clip of them singing the song to their tablet, like I'm doing now, or whatever, or getting creative with some of the lyrics. So about 70 video clips were sent in, and it involves about 80 different people from all around the world. So that's currently being edited. So that's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to getting that finished and getting it out there.
And is there a particular date we can look forward to, a particular time that we can kind of look to see that video come to fruition?
It's like everything else in lockdown. There's no schedule at the minute.
Oh,
No, it's been worked on, but I imagine within the next 2 to 3 weeks it should be complete.
okay,
I have
right.
a friend editing it, so he's very thorough in what he does. So I'm just letting him work away at it, and when it's finished, then I'll put the promo together and announce a date. But it's going to be a very special video, and the song is written about appreciating what you have in life.
Yeah.
And I just thought to do a video for it, you know.
And do you think that's a theme that's kind of relevant now with all that's happened in the past few months?
Yeah, definitely, definitely, because well, I think we've probably learned to appreciate what we
Yeah.
have, whether that's a back garden or family members in the house, whatever it might be. Um, yeah, definitely. I can only speak for myself. I've begun to, I suppose, learn a lot about myself and how I value my time. I've been painting. I've started to paint, so that's why I have a blank canvas behind me. So I suppose we just have to spend our time wisely and keep ourselves busy. It's a very strange time.
Okay, so you released the new EP towards the end of last year, is that right?
December, the
December,
first
yeah.
week of December, yeah.
And your first one came out in 2015, so there's a bit of a time gap there. Do you think it was kind of, did you have to kind of readjust to the whole experience of releasing an EP, or do you think it was an easy enough process to do that, to release it and
I,
promote it and that kind of thing?
yeah, I find it easy, to be honest, because I released an EP in 2016 as well, and then a live acoustic album in
Okay.
2017. And I've released kind of remixes and stuff like that along the way. So I do find the process easy to a certain extent. As an unsigned artist, there's only so much I can do on my own. But I enjoy all that side of the business,
Yeah.
of the industry. So no, I find it quite easy. I actually enjoy it, and it can be nerve wracking at times putting out your own artistic creations into the world, but you just kind of have to bite the bullet and just
Mm.
go with it. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, well, they might like the next song or the next release. No, all in all, I do find it easy. I suppose it's changing a lot. Social media is tough at times trying to get your content to the followers, I suppose, without paying for it. But no, it's an enjoyable process. It's all part of the industry now, so we have to embrace it, I suppose.
Yeah. A lot of people say that they feel like they're putting on different hats, say when they're writing their music or performing it, and then when they're trying to promote it, doing like the business side of things, getting it to radio stations and stuff like that. Is that something that you would agree with?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, because you're wearing many different hats. In fact, I'm wearing one right now. Um, no, yeah, you do. Like, I suppose I did another interview recently, and I actually heard myself saying that I haven't written a song in over a year, almost 2 years, I would say. I haven't written anything because we spend a lot of our time promoting what we're doing.
Yeah.
And if we're not doing that, then we're out on the road. We're actually, which is where the money is. It's in the live gigs. So the different hats have to go on. Yeah, you get home from a gig, and sometimes you might want to tell your followers how the gig went, and then you have to tell them what you're doing tomorrow and what's coming up next month. Um, and then, of course, you have to deal with bookings and inquiries and all that. So, yeah, there are many different hats. But it's about finding a balance and, you know, trying to fit it all in, I suppose, into the week or whatever kind of period you work within. It's all time management is very important, I would say. But if you're an unsigned artist, that's what you're taking on. You're taking
Yeah.
on with doing all that yourself. If you want to go the management or the label route, fair enough, but then you're giving away a lot of control to
Mm.
other people.
So I find it interesting what you said there about him not writing a song in a very long time. Do you think that when you um, record something professionally, it's kind of coming from your backlog? Do you think you have a lot of songs in the backlog, as it were, that are kind of waiting to be recorded or waiting to be performed in any way?
I have, I do have definitely. I know a lot of people write every day, but I just can't do that. I wait until something comes to me, and if it's coming to me in a strong way, then I jot it down. But I do have a kind of a scrapbook of lyrics that I will refer to every so often if
Yeah.
I'm that middle eight or that chorus or whatever. I will go to it, and I suppose it's probably cheating in a way, but I'll take something from an older song that hasn't been used yet and incorporate it into something new. So the EP that I released last year, they were songs that I had been playing them live for probably 2 years, I would say. So, but they were never recorded professionally. So I wanted to get them recorded, and because I had explored them for so long on the live circuit, I knew what I wanted them to sound. So that made the whole process quicker.
And what does that kind of creative process look like when you get that initial spark or that initial idea? What does the process look like going from that idea to having a finished product?
Um, well, if I'm working on a song, it'll be late at night, first of all.
Okay.
Something either lyrically or musically will come to me, and then I'll incorporate whatever's missing. Um, it takes you could like people can write a song and say that's great, I've written a song in a day and let's record it, but I feel like it deserves to be performed first. You have to try out your songs on a live audience. That's my opinion anyway, and see what works. Like what you sing in your apartment or your house mightn't necessarily work on a big stage or a small stage or a packed venue, and you'll be able to explore the vocal range of the song and the passion better when you're singing and performing for a live audience. So you have to take it from your home or your studio to a live audience, then take it back home. You might have to work on it a little bit more. And then when you get to studio, things can change drastically as well. You might have a plan. Like I went to Martin O'Neill, my producer, with just the bare bones of diving in, and I wanted a folk type of vibe to it, maybe in cello and guitar. So it's something very basic but kind of sweet and beautiful. But we ended up bringing it in a totally different direction, with beats and samples, and it's a more modern take on what I do. So like the journey can go any direction once the song is written, But I think a song can go on a journey, and it takes on things along the way, and it takes on new meanings. And then when somebody like your producer or engineer hears it, he's going to hear something else that might work or might not work. So it's interesting to give all these things a chance, and then the finished product.
So do you
It's
think
just as
that?
easy as that.
So do you think that your music changes a lot from initially writing it to actually being recorded or being finished? And do you think that it's important to kind of listen to other people's opinions when you're doing that?
Yeah, taking on other people's opinions can be tough at times for some people. I've learned to go on kind of criticism or constructive criticism. That's important. What was the first part of your question?
Do you think that your music changes a lot
Oh
from
yeah,
start
yeah.
to
Um,
finished?
yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. Even over the space of the 5 years I've been gigging kind of professionally, the songwriting style has changed. Um, but it definitely does change along the way. You just have to roll with it. Point being rigid in these things, I heard somebody say years ago, an Irish artist, I can't remember who it was, but a song isn't finished until it's rewritten. So you kind of write a song, you take it away to an audience, come back, and then you kind of have to rewrite it. So there may be things that need fixing, and even if you don't think there is, you should kind of address it,
Yeah.
go through it all, and work on it again. And that has worked for me, definitely has worked for me.
So do you think that your musical style has changed much from the beginning of your career until now? Like, say, how would you compare your newer music to, say, tracks that were recorded in 2015 and 2016?
Um, they've definitely taken on a more modern
Yeah.
to the folk rock sound. Um, yeah, they definitely have. I suppose I've become more confident in recording and what I'm writing, and I'm believing in it more. And I'm more confident when I go into a studio space. Like the first time I went into studio was early in 2015 into Westland Studios, like a very high profile studio in Ireland that had like some amazing people pass through the doors. That was daunting in itself before I even sang a note or played a chord. So that has changed, like the confidence that I have in myself and my music has grown, which is great. And that then will show in your music. Well, I hope it shows in my music. And trying different things, then I kind of became more comfortable with that as well. trying different ideas. Throw everything at it. Something will stick, other things won't, and that's fine. Not everything will work. Like we recorded Diving In, and like we thought we had it finished, and then we took maybe a few weeks away from it. I went back down to Martin, and we listened back to the track. No, some things need to come out of that, but we'll replace them with other things. So yeah, it's all an adventure, I suppose.
So what are your songs kind of based on? Do you think that they're inspired by personal experiences or by something else entirely?
For the most part, they are definitely personal experiences, and just taking in what's going on around me, what I see in other, what I see in other people, people
Yeah.
in my, and the effect they have on me, whether that's good or bad. But yeah, definitely it's all from a personal point of view. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've written anything that isn't from a personal point of view in some way, whether it's you know the time I'm in now, or maybe looking back to another time in my life and taking inspiration from that. I find it hard to write any other style song, to be honest, because if I want to tell a story, well, the best story I can tell is about myself, because that's the story I know best.
And would you what particular artists, are there any other artists or musicians that you would kind of look to for inspiration?
Well, anybody that's watching this back will know the first answer is Wallace Bird. I'm a big fan of hers. Love her energy, and I love her live performances. And just she just gives her heart and soul to an audience. So Wallace Bird, big fan of Glenn Hansard, Damien Rice. I would have grown up listening to them, and then Christy Moore. I love Christy Moore, and I love how he can tell a story and really put it across to an audience very well. And that's something I've taken on with doing myself. Have come up to me after gigs and told me that even if I'm singing a cover of a song that I've heard in the past, they'll tell me that they never heard the song in that way until I sang it. That I like to put my own twist on other people's songs and maybe tell the story even better at times, in my opinion. So yeah, taking inspiration from Christy as well. They would be my top four. Then I can go into Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam, and like I listen to a lot of Guns N' Roses and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I suppose all them things will trickle into my style somewhere along the way.
So we talked about the influences and the creative process and all that kind of thing, but I think the latest track was Honest. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Let's kind of use that as an example. How did you kind of put your own style onto that, and what was the whole process like of writing the song and actually getting it to being a finished product, to recording it and all that? What was the process like there?
In studio, is it?
Well, yeah, the whole process, like in terms of writing it, what was it inspired by? Everything, really.
Okay. Well, the song is about having feelings for someone, strong feelings for someone,
Yeah.
but unfortunately they don't have the same feelings for you. So, and that's written from personal experience, but I think everybody has probably gone through that at some stage. So that's what the song is about. I can't really remember writing it. And I know I wrote it in the apartment here, and I took the line of the chorus is "just be honest with yourself." That line actually came from a conversation I had with a good friend of mine around the same time, not on the same subject, but just around the same time. And so I took that, and I think that was the start of bringing that song together. Was "just be honest with yourself." So I was thinking, okay, there's a song in this somewhere. Then 9 times out of 10, when I lift the guitar, I'm probably going to write a love song of some description. Now, half of them never make it to Spotify or a CD or anything. So I built the song around that idea, and I suppose it's about me being honest with myself, but is the other person being honest with themselves? That's the kind of question. They're saying they don't have feelings, but maybe they do, and I suppose you're hoping that they do. Anyway, they don't in the end. So so that was written about 2 or 3 years ago, at least, maybe more. So I was gigging that for a while, and every time I gig a new song, I change it. You know, I change the intro or the way I approach the chorus or whatever it is. You know, I change something and I have fun with it. You know, and then when it came to recording it, when it came to working with Martin, I said, look, I have a couple of songs that I'd be interested in putting down, and would you be interested? He was absolutely up for it, and I had never worked with Martin previous to this, so he was excited for it. When it came to Honest, actually, I didn't record Honest with Martin. I recorded it in Dublin. I don't know why I'm saying that. Sorry, I recorded that one in Dublin, in Temple Bar, in Sun Studios. That's what I'm trying to say. So that was slightly different process actually with Honest, because I brought in a friend of mine, Greg Clifford, almost as a co-producer, along with Richard Byrne, who was the producer of Honest. So me and Greg had kind of spoken in advance what we wanted to do to a certain extent. And I wanted him to put down some electric guitar, some bouzouki, and I had lined up Jared Farley to do cello, and I was doing guitar and vocals. But it was quite organic on the day, actually, with that song, because I told he the feeling of it. I didn't tell him what I wanted him to play, so I actually let him in to the booth, and I just said, you know, just play whatever you think the song needs, whatever it is you can hear. And I loved what he did, and we did a couple of different variations on the electric and on the bouzouki, and the cello came in, you know, beautifully. Just Jared Farley just nails it every time, so that was good. But once you've that done, then it's down to mixing and just tweaking little things, and maybe taking apart from, you know, the first verse and moving it into the second verse, and building the song, and kind of building the layers as you go along. I hope that answers your question. I'm not too sure.
It does. That gives us a lot of detail. So obviously, lockdown has had an impact on artists all over Ireland and all over the world, obviously. But speaking for yourself, I think it's safe to say that you've kept busy. You've been doing virtual gigs with the Dingle Whiskey Bar. So can you tell us a bit more about that and how it all works?
Yeah, so I gig in the Dingle Whiskey Bar in Dublin every Sunday evening, and because of lockdown, obviously no gigs. So I approached the bar manager through WhatsApp a couple of days into lockdown, and I asked her, would she be interested in me keeping the gigs going through Facebook and Instagram? Apartment, could I get access to their Facebook? So we organised that, and so I stream live from their social media, the Dingle Whiskey Bar, on Facebook and Insta. So it's good. It's good fun. We do, or I do 6:30 to 8:30, maybe 9 p.m. some Sundays. It's great fun. There's people from all over the world tuning into this gig on a weekly basis. It's something amazing or happen. Well, we never thought any of this would happen, but so there's people tuning in from all over, people that I would have met in the bar, you know, every summer or once or twice a year. And then there's a lot of friends and regulars to the bar. There's a lot of my old wedding customers and future wedding customers. So it's good fun. I do it here in the living room, and you know, I've it all kind of dressed up better than this, obviously, and it works quite well. I'm very relaxed about it. Mostly covers, to kind of keep the variation there.
Yeah.
Different themes every couple of weeks. Last Sunday was my American songbook, so I did a lot of American country and folk music. I did a Sunday of 100% Irish music across multiple genres. I did a Girl Power Week, which was Kylie Minogue, Cher, Whitney Houston, Spice Girls, and doing my own take on these things. So it's good. I'm very grateful and thankful for all the people that tune in.
So how else have you been keeping yourself busy and keeping yourself occupied during lockdown?
I haven't really much to report. I've been just keeping on top of the social media and building the fan base, because
Yeah.
the last thing I want to happen is to come out of lockdown and have nothing to show for it. And I'm afraid to say that there will be musicians like me that possibly, I know, like I live on my own, so it's kind of hard to get that motivation sometimes, but it's important to get it, and to keep driving yourself on and pushing yourself on, because when lockdown is over, we do want to go back gigging and we do want people to come and see us play, but um, you have to stay in front of their faces basically nowadays. So in order to do that, you need to get on social media and build that fan base, keep your gigs going, investing money in the software and equipment for their gigs. But
Mm.
I just stream through my smartphone, and it seems to work quite well for me. And that's the only resources I have. I don't really want to be spending too much money during this time anyway. So I've been, the gigs actually keep me busy for a couple of days a week, because I plan them. From say Wednesday to Saturday, I spend most of Saturday rehearsing, and then Sunday morning rehearsing evening. And I run it like a show, like a professional show, as
Yeah.
much as I can. So I try not to take requests during the gig, because I want it to run smoothly. So it's 2.5 hours of music. That's close to 26, 27 songs that I prepared in advance. So it runs like in between songs, and chatting to people that are in the comment section, and people checking in from Germany and Sweden, and you get to, the gigs are keeping me busy. That's basically it. A bit of renovations, like I said, that only started in the last couple of days. I ordered paint 2 months ago, and it went from my front doorstep to the front hallway, and that's as far as it got. But I knuckled down this week, and I said I'm going to get this done. So, and I have to get the room back together before Saturday. I'm doing an extra gig this week, so
Okay.
I have a deadline to meet. Apart from that, I haven't really been doing much. Getting my groceries and getting a coffee occasionally and getting out for fresh air, but that's really it. It's a one-bed apartment I have, so I like to get out and get moving, and
Yeah.
see a few people can. But that's really it. It's quite boring, but that's really it. But the social media and the things does take up a lot of your time. There's so many
Mm.
different platforms. Then you have YouTube as well, which you're starting to build as well, which is really great, and to be working on. I would suggest to anybody, if they've any content, to start putting it out there as much as they can.
So looking past lockdown on kind of a medium to long term basis, what would be your hopes for your career? And do you think that what's after happening is going to have like a lasting impact on that for musicians in general? Or do you think that people are going to be able to just kind of pick up where they left off?
I have been avoiding thinking about this. Yes, it is going to have an effect on the live scene, for a while, I imagine. Yes, I don't see myself gigging in pubs this side of Christmas, and we're in the middle of June now. that's just me. Other people are contradicting me and saying that I probably will be, but I don't think I will. I think one positive, actually, I reckon, is that people will grow, definitely. Because I feel like I've said this to a few of my musician friends. Now, this is probably a very big-headed thing to say, but I feel in some way that musicians have taken a certain amount of power back. Because like from doing the pub scene in Ireland, obviously there's a certain amount of people in the pub that will enjoy what you're doing. There's a certain amount of people that will have no regard for what you're doing at
Yeah.
all. Meet their friends and have a pint. But I do think that overall people's appreciation for live music will increase. Because there's a lot of music online. Every second post on Facebook is either a live gig or it's an advertisement for a live gig or a drive-in show or whatever. So that's one positive I reckon is going to come from this. The other end of it is the financial, the financial thing in the next 6 to 12 months. I don't know. Like it's hard to say if people have to take tables out of their pubs in order to allow for social distancing. I don't know if they're going to make room for a musician at the corner or the back of a bar. And that's not being pessimistic. That's just being realistic.
Yeah.
So that's the way I'm looking at it. I'm quite happy with how things are going for me personally at the moment. And that of me and everything that's in the world at the moment. I'm not disregarding that in any way, but just from my own point of view as a musician, I'm happy to stay home and to stay safe and to keep other people safe. For now, I think that the next thing that will happen for me is my wedding work will commence in the next 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
So, and that's a big part of my work and a big part of my income. So hopefully that kicks in and afternoon receptions. So people still have to get married, and they will. So that's one good thing that I have in my back pocket, I suppose. So, but apart from that, I don't know. Yes, things will change. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows.
Okay. Well, actually, we're just about out of time. Just before we finish up, do you have any
Okay.
kind of closing comments? And if people want to hear more, where should they look on social media and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, okay. Well, the best place to go now is barryjhughes.com. That's the website. So all the social media links are there, all the music links are there. Lots of new merchandise coming on board into the store. I've a new album, a new live album coming out that was recorded back in December at 2 live gigs I did here in my hometown of Carrickmacross. So that's in the pipeline as well. So all the information is on my website. All the virtual live gigs is there as well. So it's barryjayhughes.com.
Okay, well, this has been Barry J. Hughes. Watch this space because there's plenty to come in the coming months. Thanks very much for joining me, Barry, once again.
No, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure, and I love the format of your show. You give people their time, and your questions are always get me, Dylan. They always get me.
Thanks a million. Right, well, thanks a million. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.